A division in Pretzel City politics appears to crumble for now. The proposal to formally disavow 3 elected officials fails after a nearly unanimous vote at Freeport City Council. Back in May, a Freeport Council member stood outside City Hall while 2 others missed the meeting inside in a protest against Mayor Jody Miller. A month later, WIFR's Nathaniel Langley learns what's next for those leaders.
In recent months, Freeport City Council meetings have been known to linger into the night. Those days of hour-long debates may be over with a temporary harmony among members.
Aye. Parker.
No.
A resolution to censure 3 Freeport City Council members for missing a meeting fails. Surprising some inside the meeting. Hours before, one council member believed it would pass.
It's a lack of respect to your constituents that vote you in, the aldermen, the city's business, if you don't show up.
The censures would have been formal reprimands against 3 members who missed a meeting in May, allegedly to disrupt council.
Is not the type of conduct either we as a council nor the constituents of the wards should be expected to tolerate.
But a plea from Alderperson Rachel Simmons appeared to earn sympathy.
I just feel like, again, we should just table this and leave it alone. Yes, we got it. Shame on you for not being here.
It's not going to be tolerated. We can let it go.
What still passed were changes to council rules, including a 4-minute limit to speaking.
This is just heartbreaking because you want to say you're not trying to shut us up, but you
be careful how you treat our people. Be careful how you treat the people of Freeport.
Others hope the council can move on and deliver for the people of Freeport.
We're here for strictly city business, what's best, and we're not going to agree, but at least we can compromise.
Another real change includes a $100 fine for members who are knowingly absent from meetings. Not showing up to cause attendance issues will fall into that category.
Thank you, Nathaniel. And in a statement, Mayor Jody Miller said residents expect elected officials to participate meaningfully in government. She claims walking away from duties doesn't promote the city's advancement.